The Paiute people were here for centuries before my ancestors came, and those ancestral Puebloan people were here even earlier. We have artifacts of habitation going back 10,000 to 12,000 years. And so all of that is such an important and integral part of this story. There's so much to tell and to consider and to really be sensitive about.
My name's Gary Tom. I'm from the Kaibab Band of Paiute Indians located over by Pipe Spring. A lot of times when we're as flute players, it's very enlightening to sit and listen to the water, because that's where some of our music comes from, what we're trying to listen to, what we're trying to compose. And so we'd spend a lot of time in nature, whether it's in the mountains, you listen to the trees, the wind spirit makes those sounds for us. Something even in your ear, small as a little bug, could give you some pitches that you listen to and play from. Birds, all of these different sounds that surround us, you'd have to listen very intently, with your heart rather than just listening to the sounds.
Anta ichuk. Ayak nu punikai maanoni im tangwansing mamautsing. Nunin yaner Karma Dudahits Grayman. Good morning. It's good to see all you people here today, you men and women. And it's good that you're here on this land of ours, this Tuvipur, our land, our homeland. I am a Shivets, which we call the Sivit. Shivets Paiute, one of the 5 bands. So like these mountains up here that you're looking at, the red mountains that we wake up to every morning, which is so beautiful, they're the Ankakaib. They're the red mountains. But our people traveled, and they knew where the water was, they knew where the plants were. From what I understand, they were great botanists. They knew the plants that were used for medicine. They knew the plants that were edible. They knew the plants that were poisonous.
I felt like, these people had the best of all the worlds, the upper Colorado River Basin, the Great Basin, down here to the desert. So they'd migrate. Being nomadic people, they traveled by foot. They were one of the last tribes to get the horse. And for the most part, they would follow the animal. The mountain sheep, a lot of deer, you got the cats.
Our Shivets people, too, were involved with Powell when he came down the river. And he used our people as guides because he said they didn't need to have a map. They knew every crook and cranny of the area because they traveled it. Our people have been here for time immemorial, they say. And so they know the land.
A good friend of ours that wrote a book about the petroglyphs named his book, And the Rocks Began to Speak, because in essence they do.
I'm Shenandoah Anderson. I grew up on the Shivwits Reservation, which is the land we're sitting on right now. And so if you look at a petroglyph, you'll see a lot of spiral petroglyphs, so that's telling you that it's something going up. And then the opposite is going down. And so if you have a circle within a circle within a circle, it's similar to a trunk. You know how the trunk has all the rings? So it's saying to go bigger, bigger, bigger. A sign for water or wind is this. It's a variety of different things. Some talk about taboos, some talk about graves or battles that had happened. All throughout my childhood, we would sit with elders. They would talk to us in Paiute. Some of the ladies would tell us how to bead. They would tell us how to tan hides. They would give us little secrets on how to cook, like the brains to the deer, how to cook it so that it would tan the hide better. I know how to make bows, I know how to make arrowheads, and it's just like I wanted to learn everything. We went to gatherings, we went to ceremonies, we went to powwows, and we danced, and we would just sit with people.
They practiced the traditions, their ceremonies. My grandmother was a basket maker, a cradle maker. My grandfather was a singer. He sang the Mountain Sheep song. And he said the Mountain Sheep dance is a dance that was created long, long time ago.
Because of our family lineage of being from the Mountain Sheep, we honored the Mountain Sheep. And And so my great grandpa, his name was Sawap. He was the last of our mountain sheep song keepers. Nobody could go out and do the hunting without going to him first to ask to do a song for a good, successful hunt. We have a story about a major drought one time. Years ago, the mountain sheep stepped forward and said, "We will sacrifice our life for you so that you can survive and you can live."
Grandfather tells that Os went up into the mountains and he went hunting. He brought a mountain sheep down. He brought that mountain sheep home, and then his son saw him, and then his son created a song. It needs to hear those words. It needs to hear those songs to Nakakar, to hear it. Ka, nah. And then there's a story that goes along with that mountain sheep, how he became the North Star. And so they'll remember it, because in our way of life, everything here is alive, even the rocks. Everything like that dance has a purpose.
So we were a simple people. We were song people. We sang for everything. We didn't feel that it was a hard life. It was just life. People always ask us, how did you live in the desert and how did you survive? And to us, it was just everyday life. We would go from camp to camp. Going 100 miles in a day or two was nothing for us. And so we just traveled on foot to all these trails, and that was just life.
When the Spaniards came through, we had the part of that Spanish trail up above, up in the old area. They would invade our encampments and take our children and sell them into slavery.
Well, that was the first time a lot of people had actually seen a bearded white man. That was an era of just going into hiding and being standoffish because they didn't know what to expect or what to think of these explorers that came in. The women and kids would stay in hiding. Like, it wasn't a happy time because they brought in a lot of things that took over the land. And to me, it just seems like when they came, we kind of went into hiding.
Paiutes weren't a real fierce people. They could be angry, but they weren't a warlike people. So a lot of those things that the Europeans brought their thoughts to us and said, you do it this way. Forget about your ways. That's not good. That's one of the changes that came with the Mormon church. You know how they appoint people or set them aside or whatever? Well, that's what they did with the Paiutes. They said, okay, you got to have a boss, a president. It never used to be like that. There was a leader, but he always took the people in and they talked about it so that they came to a consensus. Our people used to be great in numbers. We had so many bands, but they're gone. They're all gone. The Tokerville people are all gone. They were wiped out. The Donequin people were all wiped out. When the Europeans came over and they brought their sicknesses, and the people were not used to that. They had no medicine.
And that's sad because anyone that had first contact, they died first.
And so once the Europeans came in and they brought in the cattle and the sheep, they ate all the natural foods that the Paiutes had, that they would gather. So that drastically changed our lifestyle.
We killed the wildlife to eat, and so when it depleted the food, then the animals went somewhere else. Our people started to starve.
But we're overcoming that, and my thoughts are that is, and too, my dad always taught me, you're just as good as a white man, except that you're Indian, your skin's always going to be brown. Don't be ashamed of it. But those are things that we have had to overcome and carry with us, just like other people of color.
I feel that our tribe right now is working a lot better with being independent with our convenience store and our gas station, and we have all these little businesses that are coming up that is helping us, and that's what I want, is for us to be self-sufficient and not depend on anybody, but be able to do it ourselves. And so today, I was actually going to publish it yesterday, the website, Nuwu Paiute. Any of our tribal people can go online and they can access any of those stories, the language, everything will be online.
I'll always live here. This is my home. I'm tied to this earth. When you have a belly button, they call it your sukubi. When that falls off, the mother takes it and they bury it either by a bush or by a tree, wherever you were born, near there, so that you will never get lost. You will always make it back home.
I think that we just need to bring that pride back to our youth so that they will one day be our elders that held on to that religion and the culture and who they are with pride. If somebody sees a little Paiute kid and say, wow, you're Paiute, you're a rare, one of a kind, and make them feel good.
You know, we walk in two worlds. We have to learn how to balance that. You get too much of one, you get sick in your wholeness.
We're still here, and it's a struggle, but we're still here.